Can't you see what you're doing to me? Well, you say you're gonna leave me, darling, back to your old time used to be. I work two jobs, I bring home all my pay. Oh, you tell me you love me, then trying to do things my way. Now, baby, can't you see what you're doing to me? You say you're gonna leave me, darling, back to your old time used to. I work two jobs, I bring it on my pay. You tell me you love it, and baby, try to do things my way. Hey, baby, can't you see what you're doing to me? Why you say you're gonna leave me, darling, back, 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 back? Can't you see what you're doing? Can't you see what you're doing to me? Why you say you're gonna leave me, darling, back to your old time? That's all right. Why you say you're gonna leave me, darling, back to your old time? Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. You just heard the Albert King classic, Can't You See What You're Doing to Me? And that is performed and recorded by the UK blues rock singer-songwriter Deborah Bonham and her husband, guitarist and songwriter Peter-Bullick. And their new album is coming out. It's Bonham Bullock, the name of their band. And it is coming out on April 29th through Quarto Valley Records. But that is the first single from the album, and it's super exciting. So March 25th, the single is out, and you can also pre-order the album. So go to deborahbonham.com, and we are super excited to have her here on the show. So Deborah, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, Lisa, it's good to be with you.
Oh,
And
great to
Nancy.
have you. And Miss
Thank you.
Nancy, yes.
Yes.
She's the lady with the
Nancy.
halo on the side.
I have the halo.
She has the
Thank you.
halo.
Looking
You know,
beautiful.
this album is so good. I mean, it's you
Mhm.
guys are you are the amazing duo. Obviously, you have an incredible band behind you too that you guys have been playing for years together. But the guitar playing, I mean, he's incredible, and your voice.
Mhm.
This is just what a treat.
Yeah.
We love when we hear women who truly know how to get down with the blues and get dirty and gritty and then still rock it out. And it's just, when do we get to see you tour with Mavis Staples? I'd love to see
Ooh,
that
that'd
happen.
be awesome.
Wow. Oh, well, you've hit the nail on the head there, Mavis Staples. I mean, you know, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, well, I can't even, that would just be unbelievable.
It would be perfect. It's like
That
the
would be
perfect
cool.
pairing to me, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, thank you
Ah.
so much. You know, it's just great to hear that you like the album. It's, you know, it's a change in direction for us, because I've always written our own music, and
Right.
so, you know, you sort of get an idea of when you first write a song, the melody comes and the chords, and then I've got pretty much an idea where it's going to end up. And I'll play it to the band, and then they'll put their bit on it. But we sort of know. But with this was a departure because it's other people's songs, and some of them are classics, some of them are obscure, but they're amazing songs. So had to dig really deep, you know, to keep the respect for the original, but put our take on it, our interpretation. And that was a real challenge. You know, quite often I was getting really worried, especially with Albert King, because it's Albert King. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, you can't just copy it. You've got to do your own thing. It's got to be true to you, otherwise it's just fake. So you've got to have
it's a challenge. I mean, and you guys do, the respect is there, and it is just one of those albums that you're going to play over and over and over again. You know, it's just one of those that you want to feel good, or you know, you got the blues. Either way, you want to listen to it because there's something. It's a really good collection. Are these songs that you guys have been playing on stage, or how did you select these?
We are now, but no, not before. They were completely random. When the decision was made to do a covers album, or more interpretations of other people's songs, I just didn't want to go down the obvious, or the
typical,
because they've all been done. And I mean, I know Albert King's song's been done, but I thought if I just do a couple, and so, you know, I just dug deep into lots of different songs. There were people that helped me. I mean, a friend of mine, Gary Nesbitt, over in New Jersey, he's a real songsmith. You know, he knows every song going back, goodness knows when. So he sent me loads. And my dear friend Roy Williams, who sadly passed away at the beginning of COVID, but he was the front of house sound engineer for Robert Plant for years and years. And Roy sent me a lot of songs, and Robert sent me some songs too, you know, and said, I think this would be really good for you. And so by the end of it, I had, you know, at least 100 songs.
Oh my God. Wow. But isn't that cool though, when people send you songs because they're thinking about your voice, and then obviously is playing. Yeah. So they're hearing, you know, they hear that, it's like, okay, they know who we are as a team, right? And then, but then what a cool listening party. I mean, did you just sit back and go, okay, let's have a listening party tonight and write down what we want? I mean, that's a cool thing about getting all this music in.
Pretty much, you know, I mean, it was really me. I sort of went through them all, and I got quite ruthless with it, because I sort of know what I can bring. You know, we've been doing this so long, and we've been in this band for years. I mean, I've been with Pete for 30 years. You know, we've been married.
Married and on stage together. Holy cow! How did
22 years we've been married?
Oh my God! How do you do that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's awesome, though. You guys look like you have fun. I've watched video clips of you guys, and I want to see you guys perform live. Nancy, wouldn't? I mean, this is for us. This is like listening to your music. We're like, oh, we've got to see them live. And do you guys ever come over here? Are you coming to the States?
Well, you know, the plan was to come over. I mean, we were doing all this album when COVID kept broke. So March 2020, and we were planning on coming back over to America, because we were there in 2018 on the Paul Rodgers, Jeff Beck, and Wilson Stars Align tour, because the band actually backed Paul for his set, and I opened up the whole thing, and it was absolutely fantastic. And that's where we hooked up with Water Valley Records, so who have been just amazing. They gave us complete freedom to do the album we wanted to do, and I think this day and age is quite amazing. You know, they're great.
Rare. Yeah.
So
that's cool.
So the momentum was going, and then we came out in 2019 and played the East Coast, played the Cutting Room, and went up to Daryl Hall's place and Levon Helms, and it was brilliant.
Up in Woodstock. Oh my God.
Yeah, I loved it. So we were on the momentum was going, and then bang, wipe out.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a shocker, but you know, we got through and picked up the reins again and just went, okay, now's the time to do it. So we're touring in the UK and Europe starting April 6th, but we're really hoping that come the fall we'll be out there, because that's, you know, we really want to be out there and come and play.
We
So
want
we're
you
hoping,
to, and
you know,
we're going to come see you wherever you go.
well, let's tickets there for you, Lisa and Miss Nancy. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would
Oh
be
my
fun.
gosh. Fall tour. I mean, that's it. Like,
fall is
that
a
would,
nice time too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
That's
time
a
to come
beautiful
over.
time.
And also, if you get over here, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, we need it. I mean, we need you guys to come over here. It just
Yeah.
would be like a good way of saying, COVID, screw you. It's time to party again and
Yeah.
get down to some real music.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, it would be a good way of like, yeah.
I think everybody wants to do that, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all 2 years of you know, of hell really with that
Yeah.
pandemic, and I think it's time to let rip a bit and get out there and play. And I can't wait. And this is a great band to do that with, because they're so funny. I mean, it's just a constant, you know, it's a very, very funny band. I mean,
oh, that's good.
Cool.
They get out on the stage and they just nail it, and it's great. And we can just look at each other and know where it's going to go. But yeah, be prepared for afterwards, because they'll be whisking you away and getting drinks down your necks, no doubt.
Oh, that's really hard to
I'm
do
here.
with us. That's really difficult. But there's a thing, you know, it's like, I think there's the vibe in the album too for us. I mean, you already just know you just want to party. You listen to it and it's like, you know, you have that vibe of a band that is really super tight. And it's really cool when a band is like that, because it opens it up, especially for shows, when you're at a show, that here comes the jam side of it. You know, when you're really tight, you're able to jam, you know?
We do. I mean, we have done. I mean, one of the songs, we were in France the one night. We arrived into France and we were playing this theatre, and everybody was in the bar. And I used to speak good French, but it went a bit ropey as the years of not going there. So I've picked it up again. But my agent keeps telling me, don't get too good, because I love the way you keep making mistakes. I'm like, okay. So we're in the bar, and I'm looking around, and all of a sudden, I see Prince's face come up on the screen, and then I went, oh my goodness, listen, I think Prince has just died. And
oh God, no.
So the next day we went we were in the theatre, we did a sound check, and I said, you know what, we should go into some Prince tonight. Anyway, we didn't sort of think too much about it. And then on the night, we were halfway through this one song, and the vibe just felt right, and we went straight into Purple Rain, and the place went crazy, and it was so emotional. I don't know what happened. It just, you know, the band picked it up, and we were, and Pete played out of his skin guitar.
Oh my God.
Was streaming down my face. The crowd were going crazy, and everybody got emotional. So yeah, we'll suddenly just go off, you know.
Well, yeah, I could hear Pete playing,
cool.
You know, Prince, because Prince, I think he was one of the most underrated guitarists on the planet. Honestly, I don't think people really realized how I mean, there's Prince fans, and just what he did even in jazz before more of the pop and rock stuff. You know what I mean? He was I mean, I still I laugh at that one recording that goes around of him playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And, you know, George Harrison's son is there in his face. Yeah, everybody's like, here comes Prince. And that was the big solo. It was perfect.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome. You're absolutely right. You know, I mean, a lot of people just remember the songs and him singing, but his guitar playing was just, and his production, his producing skills, his songwriting skills, and don't forget his dancing. You know, I mean, he was just it was a big shock. And I think whether you're a Prince fan or not a Prince fan or whatever, the fact that we all knew him, it's sort of that night in France, it was just you had to
Oh.
pay homage to him, and the whole place did, and it was great. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you tour Europe often? I mean, talking in regular terms here, like, normal non-COVID-y times.
Yeah. Yeah, we have done. I mean, we can't wait to get back. We're off again in, I think it's May,
Oh,
and we
okay,
haven't
great.
been for since 2019. So yeah, I mean, it's a great place to tour. I mean, we had Brexit stuff, which made it a bit difficult, but
Right.
Irish, so he's got an Irish passport, which is still in the European Union, so we're fine, But we love it. I mean, they know how to look after their guests, their artists, their musicians. I mean, the mayor will throw a concert in these medieval villages, and it's free for people to come in, and it's a massive stage in front of a great big church, and it's all lit up and incredible lights and everything. And then they put on all this food and red and white wine. They really know how to
I want to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, we've had some fantastic shows there. So yeah, we can't wait to get back. Can't wait.
How did you meet Peter?
At a wedding.
That's always, see what happens?
See what happens is right.
32 years later. God. He was a friend of the bride, and I was a friend of the groom. And he was a band that offered to do the wedding music as a wedding gift. And it was a real sort of bar band, really, blues rock, playing everything from Georgia Satellites to Tom Petty and, all manner of everything that they played. And they were really, really good. And I got up and sang with them. And that was it, really. That was, we met, and that was the end of that. So, and here we still are, just by the skin of our teeth,
Yeah. But eventually, wasn't it, the Bonham band, Deborah Bonham band, and then you guys decided, okay, it's both of your names together?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, it's just because I was already, I'd made an album before I met him, and so it was sort of, and I was already playing in different bands, and it was always Deborah Bonham band. So we just stuck with that, but this now, I mean, he's such a phenomenal talent. And, for somebody like Paul Rodgers to pick him to play guitar with him, and, he's just a phenomenal talent. And so are the band. And it's always been us. It's always been the band, it was just that we never really, Pete doesn't like change too much, so he likes things to be the way they are. And when you start talking change, he's like, "Oh, don't change the way it's wrong." I was like, you know what? Come on, it's. I just felt that this was a new project, it was something different, and I just wanted it to, really recognize him and recognize the band for what it is, because we're a team, and it's as simple as that,
It's like Trucks and Tedeschi. They ended up like, oh yeah, let's just merge it and have a big party and go on the road and record. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, they're a fantastic band, and I think that's probably, a little bit why I thought, well, yeah, why not do that? Why not? I mean, Buckingham Nicks did it before Fleetwood Mac, and it's sort of, why not do that? So I suggested it. Pete was a bit, I don't know. And then he sort of liked the idea. And so, okay, here we are. Bonham Bully.
Oh, that's awesome. But so tell us who's in your band. We always want to give a shout out to the band,
Yeah.
because they're behind everything, so
yeah,
tell us,
Well, the drummer is a guy called Richard Newman. And Rich, his father is Tony Newman, who was the drummer with Sounds Incorporated and David Bowie and lots of different people. So he's got a lineage, of coming from a drumming family, a bit like me. So
yeah, here we go. Yeah. So I've got to say, everybody, if you don't know, Deborah's late brother is John Bonham. So
there we go.
I'm going to say that.
So Yeah, so that's Rich. And Rich has been with us about 13 years. So he's the new boy.
Oh, wow.
He's the new boy on the block.
Yeah.
Keyboard player is Gerard Lewis.
Mhm.
He's known as G.
Mm.
And he's been with us for forever. And
So he did all the keyboard, all the oh my God, the keys on the album are
They're
phenomenal,
awesome.
whether it's
yeah,
piano,
well,
organ.
we had a couple of guests as well on a couple of songs with Hammond. There was John Baggett, who was in Massive Attack and Robert Plant's sensational Space Shifters, and Portishead. And we had a couple of friends come on, and we had BJ Cole on pedal steel guitar because he's a friend. Brother Paul Brown, who is with the Waterboys, and Ann Peebles and Bobby Rush, and he came on and did a bit of Hammond. And Andy Stoller did some bass from Heart. He came on because we met him on tour with Ann Wilson, and he was like, yeah, I really want to play with you guys. So when the album came about, we said, well, why doesn't Andy play a track? So we had a few great friends come on and play, but
That's cool.
On the whole, it was G. And yeah, he's a fantastic piano player. And then Ian Rowley on bass, and I've known Ian since we were teenagers. So yeah, long time, long time.
It sounds like your whole family is musical. Like it's something like a musical house and talent. Like just looking at siblings, it just seems like this was a family of whether it's photography or songwriting, singing, drumming. Obviously, all of that. It seems like it's just a very creative force of England. Move over, everybody.
It's like, here they come.
But isn't that like a fun way to grow up in just a creative space?
Yeah. I mean, growing up with John. Yeah. I mean, going back, my mom and dad loved music. My mom always wanted to be what she called a comedy musical star, but she never had the guts to do it. I don't know what a comedy musical star is, but anyway, she wanted to do that. But they always played great music, and they're one of their main things was the big bands. So Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller, and because of Benny Goodman, whose drummer was Gene Krupa, John was hitting pots and pans from a baby, but he absolutely loved Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich.
Good.
So
Buddy Rich is still,
It goes back to mom and dad playing this stuff all the time, and then it became the Beatles, and my cousin was crazy on Elvis, so Elvis was getting played. And
I remember when we lived in England, everybody had Elvis.
Elvis,
and it was king. Like the Velvet Elvis was everywhere we went.
Elvis
and Cliff Richard. I remember someone saying Cliff Richard is England's answer to Elvis, and we're like, no, he's not.
No, no.
God bless him.
Sorry, but I mean, he's good at what he does. But no, no. But I mean, for you, did you start writing songs first or singing? Because your voice is just so damn incredible. It's powerful and soft, and you've got all the timing and just the feels. You've got all the feels, and I think that's so, but it's not. You've got this really good dynamic of not overdoing it. And I know that's, when you get into that kind of singing, I sing too, and it's just that you have to watch it because you could just go crazy, when you're, you know what I mean, emotionally putting yourself out there.
I think, I mean, I've always sung, even from a young girl, and I was singing at school and stuff. I didn't really start doing it, writing songs until I was quite a bit older. I think, I was late teens, and I didn't really get going until I finished school, which was, when I was 18, 19. So, but all my life, John loved many, many genres of music, but one of his favorites was Motown. And so he would always be playing the likes of, the Four Tops with Levi Stubbs singing. And then we'd have Al Green, and there'd be James Brown, and there'd be
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
Otis Redding was a big one, you know, and Aretha Franklin, and all of those, and that's soul. Just for me, you know, and Peebles as well, and I mean, just Mavis Staples, as you say, you know, I mean, it's just phenomenal singing, you know, and phenomenal music. And one of his favorites was we called them over here the Detroit Spinners with Felipe Wynne. Remember Rubber Band Man? So, you know, I've sort of, that's really all my life has been going on. And then there was the Joni Mitchells and the Janis Joplins and the Stevie Nicks and the Paul Rodgers and of course Robert. I've listened to him since I was, you know, 5 or 6 years old. So he's been my biggest influence, I would think. And
he's amazing with his voice, how he's transformed over the years and what he's doing with Alison Krauss, and just it's really, but he's still the, you know, the blues and the rock and that and he always has that Celtic mystique moving in, just this kind of like there's a little swirl in there, you know. But you're going back,
he's definitely still got it. That's it.
Yeah, he's got that woo, you know. But the going back to the soul and the R&B, you've got Sam Cooke on. You covered Trouble Blues on this, and it's just, it's so good. That, I mean, when you get into the Sam Cooke albums and his music, I wish he was still. I mean, could you imagine where he would be today? You know, if he was still here with God.
Something else. I mean, that was another one. That weighed really heavy because it was me. It was like I axed my own leg because it was me who wanted to do the Sam Cooke song.
Oh, so, I love it.
And I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? This is, I don't know, career suicide. You're going to attempt Sam Cooke. And I just thought, okay. And I loved his, you know, his version of Trouble Blues. So what we did had to be completely different. But when we got in the studio and we were trying it out, it wasn't working. And I just went, no. It's just not, this isn't happening. I said, tell you what, everybody stop playing and let's just have a straight drum beat and slow it right down and I'll sing it. Because I could sort of hear it being very gospel-y, sort of a bit spooky, ethereal-y sort of thing. And so that's what we did. And I just sang it a cappella and it worked. And I went, yeah. There.
It's beautiful. And then I just, this is such an interesting collection of music too. You know, the Changeling, that one, Chris Wilson, this is, tell us about that, because that song, I don't know, I kind of felt like that's like that should be our tour theme song. You know, just,
well,
you know,
changing everything.
It's like a good song about travel and tell us about putting that one on. It was so interesting that you closed the album with it too, because it kind of opens the door for part 2.
Well, you never know, but I hadn't heard Chris. He's you know, he's an Australian artist, and sadly he's passed away too, but he's huge in Australia. And it was my friend Gary Nesbitt sent it over and said, have a look at this guy, have a listen to some of his stuff, see what you think. I was totally blown away. I mean, the man could play harmonica like you wouldn't believe, and he almost got a Leonard Cohen cross, JJ Cale cross.
I love my JJ.
I don't know, he had this whole vibe going on, and this song came up, and I was knocked out. In fact, you know, it was one of those moments where I had goosebumps, and I thought, oh, good grief. And I just knew I wanted to do it, but it had to be us doing it. You know, it couldn't be a copy of exactly what he'd done. So we changed it and did a few things, and I sent it to his widow, who is an amazing singer-songwriter in Australia herself, and she sent me the most wonderful email back, and it was incredible, just because for me, I was standing in that studio doing that song, and we had some candles, you know, and it was all quite you know, creating the atmosphere. And at the end of it, I was quite emotional, and I just wanted to send her the record, and I sent it to her, and she came back and said she absolutely loved it, and it was great.
Nice.
He's an amazing talent. In fact, you know, it's such a shame. He passed away. I think it was cancer, and you know, gone way too soon, because he was an incredible talent.
We have to close the show with that, I think, because it's just that song. As soon as I heard it, and I was like, damn, and then the album's over. I'm like, oh, okay, hit replay. But you know, you can do that. But it's such a good, I mean, that song just was like, oh man, this is one of those, and as you hear it, you just love it even more. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like a really good bottle of wine. You just, okay, let me have another sip, nice and just it just grows on you, you know. I think that has to be one of my favorites. But then Bleeding Muddy Waters, oh my God, that Nancy Both, she's like, what's going on over here?
Yeah,
that is, tell us about putting that on, because that you know, Bleeding Muddy Waters, yeah, I like that one.
Again, I mean, Mark Lanigan, and this sounds awful, but he passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
I know, it's like, wow. I really wanted to send it to him, and of course I couldn't. And again, another one gone too soon, because Mark Lanigan, fantastic talent, and he's done some work with John Paul Jones. And so I'd heard of him that way. I thought, I'm going to check him out, and I loved his stuff. And then I heard this song, and I just sort of knew when I heard it, it just had that lilt. I thought, I know what you can do with this one. And it just, you know, again, all those songs were the sort of ethereal type, moody type ones that I picked, because I love that sort of stuff. I want to get it going as well, but I just loved it. So I thought, we'll do that. And I love the lyric, you know. I mean, it's
perfect.
The lyric has to resonate, and all of the songs, The Changeling, it resonated. It just, you know. And then there's another song on the album, Patty Griffin's song called When It Don't Come Easy. And that one, that lyric, I got halfway through the song, and I burst into tears, because it was so powerful what she'd written, you know. And so it was all about that. The songs were all about picking the songs that already moved me in the original format, you know. They just made me go, oh my goodness, yeah. And it was just a joy to do it. It was a challenge, and we had to dig deep. And then, you know, I won't say there weren't some moments where we were like, crikey, are we going to come out the other end of this? And it's the first time that I've produced a record fully.
Cool.
So, there were times where I felt the weight on my shoulders and thinking, you know, these aren't your own songs. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. These are precious to somebody. And so, but anyway, it was great. And at the end of the day, it's just been the most incredible journey, and met some great people along the way, got to work with some great people. We took it to Peter Gabriel's studio, Real World, over in Bath in the UK, for Tim Oliver to mix it. And that was a complete joy, because he just got it from day one, so knew the sound we were going for. So it's been fantastic. I'm just glad I'm glad we've at long last got it out.
You birthed it. I know. It's a big birthing, but you know, it's like a tribute album. At the same time, you're carrying the torch of these musicians and songwriters.
Exactly.
And coming out of that, did you get inspired for your own writing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing now. You know, I think I took time out, because I've always been I'll be out and about, and I'll suddenly get an idea for a song. But when the pandemic hit, I lost it for a while. I just didn't want to write about anything. I didn't feel inspired by anything. I think it was the processing of what was going on with the pandemic. So I spent most of my time growing vegetables and walking my dogs. And
Hey, that's good.
we've got some rescued animals and, and rescued dogs and horses and donkey. And I just thought, I'd, take some time out and just do that. And then also, I think with doing the album, I wanted to get this finished. It was almost like cluttering my head a bit too much to go and start doing other stuff. And that's the thing when you're a musician sometimes, or a singer-songwriter. You get one album in the bag and you move on very quickly. And of course, this wasn't finished. So I just didn't feel I could move away from it onto anything else. I just couldn't. So I've got to see this through before I go to the next project. But I've got back into writing again now. So we'll see where that goes. But it might be a part 2, as you say.
I hope so, because I think you're also inspiring people to listen to not the same typical songs over and over again. People tend to get into a set song list, or I always listen to this instead of, hey, you know what, it's like, don't just listen to Respect by Aretha Franklin. She's done so many other songs. You know what I mean? It's like, go listen to all the other songs. Right. And go listen to the B-side. It's like, I feel like I'd like to just do a radio show called the B-side, but then, vinyl's coming back.
I mean, I totally agree. And also, I'm thinking that if people do hear this, but they haven't heard Chris Wilson or Mark Lanigan or Bernard Fowler, who wrote "See You Again," the first track, and he's an incredible singer-songwriter. He's been the backing vocalist for the Rolling Stones for years and years. But, oh my goodness, this guy's voice! He's just and his songwriting. And I heard him on this album, his album called Deborah, and there was this song "See You Again," and I was just, that was it. So if people like if they've heard this but haven't heard that, I'm sort of hoping that people will then go and dig back and go, well, look, where did that song come from? And then it opens it up into a whole new world of other artists.
I like that. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, they seriously, there's some incredible artists whose songs we've taken and tried to do our interpretation on them and keep the respect for the original and for those artists. And it's been great. And we might do part 2.
That'd be cool.
Oh, good. Yeah. So where are you in England?
I'm on the south coast.
Okay. Nice.
So in a place called Chichester, which is West Sussex.
Okay, cool. So when are you going to do like a tour within England itself?
Yeah, we start on the 6th of April.
Within the walls of Brexit.
Yeah, within the walls of Brexit. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, April the 6th we start, and we're up and down the country. So
good.
We're all over the place.
Cool.
And we go into Europe, and we do France and Belgium and Netherlands. And
what's going on with Belgium? I see a lot of blues artists going to Belgium. Like
it's cool. It's a great place. I mean, they have some great clubs, and I think everybody in Europe, I think we're doing it more now. There was a time here that we were losing a lot of our theatres and clubs. And then when COVID hit, it became even more of a panic that some of our iconic venues were going to disappear. But I think since COVID and now, because everyone was starved of it for 2 years, I think people are starting to go out and go to shows, and so I think it'll be good. But over in Europe, especially Belgium, I mean, they've got some great places to play, and again, they love their music. Czech Republic is just incredible to go and play, because they were starved of great music for so long,
right?
That they just love you. They just love their music. So it's a great place, provided it stays in one piece with what's going on at the moment. We're all pretty devastated. So I'm not wishing to bring this down, but it's pretty devastating what's going on. So we're all praying for peace and hope, for the Ukrainians, that it will
Absolutely.
For
They will
sure.
survive.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Yeah, because
yeah.
even just in place like Turkey, like uh, John Lee Hooker Jr. went there and did like this big, I think it was in Budapest that he was at,
Yeah.
huge just blues, festivals
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
there.
It's big in Europe. Very
Yeah.
big.
Well, that's
And it's
great.
got a resurgence here. So, yeah, it's great. It's just great to see good music. And I think if anything that the pandemic has told us, go out and grab carpe
Party.
diem, because it's finite what we've got. And I think,
Mhm.
there's so many great things to go out and do. And yeah, if you can,
Exactly.
a few pounds you can spare, then go and see some great music, support the venues, because without them,
Yeah.
you just end up with stadium bands, and that will cost you, which is great. I love that too, but yeah, that costs you a lot of money. Whereas there's some real grassroots stuff going on, and a lot cheaper, and it's brilliant.
And it's
Mhm.
intimate. It's more of an
Mhm.
intimate show, which has got like an
Yeah.
energy it's, yeah, I mean, we finally got to see friends of ours, the Cravens band out in South Florida last year. And it was just a nice
was
small club,
magical.
and it was raining, which is unfortunate because I have an outdoor venue too, which is
Mm.
outdoors is always just, it's
Neat.
kind of connected to nature, so it's a little more
Yeah.
tribal. And but it was, and as we
It's fun.
because we travel full time, we ended up pet sitting. Talk about, we've been taking care of pigs, goats, chickens, dogs, cats, you name it. So we've been doing that as we travel, just to be socially distanced. And but anyway, so we had to get back because we had a little dog that we said, okay, we can only go for a few hours. But and Nancy's like, okay, we got to be careful, social distance and all that. I could barely get her out of the venue, and she's like, and I'm like, come on. And they're like, leave Nancy here. You go back and do your thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you
hell
go.
no. So it was
Really?
just, oh my God, when you are back hearing live music, there's
Yeah, it's
nothing
awesome.
there's just nothing like it. And
Yeah.
it was just, and they're so good. They're such a great band. And we're like,
Mm.
oh my God, please don't let this end. Don't
Yeah,
let this end,
was
because
really
you
fun.
forget
Right,
how
yeah.
much it
Live
feeds your
music.
soul.
Yeah.
We need it.
We'll
We
come
need
over
it.
and you'll have to come and we'll
Yeah.
take care of you for the night. You'll love it.
Where do you know when are you going to go most on the East Coast, do you think, or are you at that
I
point
don't
of
know
planning?
yet. It depends how it all pans out.
Yeah.
Wait and see. And I know that everybody at Quarter Valley Records is, looking into it now. So, it's just hope and a prayer, and we'll be there.
Cool. We'll give you a trailer. We'll pull you
Make it
across the
happen.
country on the back of a trailer.
Thank you.
We'll do that. But listen, well,
Uh-oh.
hopefully we do get to connect, and definitely I know our audience are all over Europe and England as well. So hopefully they'll catch your shows too. But definitely get the album, everyone. Go to DeborahBonham.com is the website. And of course, like we started the show with Can't You See What You're Doing to Me? It's Albert King classic. That is their first single, out March 25th. And you can pre-order the album around that time too. So just keep up with Deborah's website, DeborahBonham.com. And that's Deborah, Deborah. I always just like to prove that I can spell. And then also, yeah. And we're going to close with The Changeling. I think that's definitely the song we want to close with today. Again, written by Chris Wilson. And also, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's show, which is Norfolk Tours in England. Now, Glenn Rose he's awesome. Have you been to Norfolk? It can't be that far from you, right?
Yeah, I played Norfolk. Yeah,
cool.
we go up to Norfolk. There's a place, a little place up there we used to play, which was beautiful. Blakeney, I think it was called. It was right on the coast. Very beautiful county.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he takes people all around East Anglia, Norfolk, and helps them trace their family history. So a lot of Americans and Australians, Canadians go over, and he helps them, takes them to, the grave sites, to the churches, and anything else they want to do too. So that's really cool. So I have to tell him, you have to start taking musicians around and tour them around.
That'd be cool.
I know. So everyone keep up with Glenn at norfolk-tours.co.uk. But here it is, the Changeling. Thank you, Changeling. I can say it. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you, Miss Nancy. It's absolutely beautiful to meet you both. Thank you. And thank you.
See you when you get here.
We'll
Yeah.
do. You touch.
Cool.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You burn a cigarette while I was sleeping. And you packed your things in a cardboard case, and slammed the door on me. Weeping. So move if you think it's alright. Move if you think it's alright. Alright. The changeling is a vagabond that just changes like the wind. And you, my love, you're a vagabond. You're a vagabond 'cause you just change like the wind, just like the wind. Move if you think it's alright. Move if you think it's alright. Alright, alright. Well, I found your case on the Greyhound bus, and you were just hidden up behind the closed doors of the restroom. Well, they found you there, and you were all screwed up. You were just all screwed up, and you had tears left for the rescue.